Hello everybody, how is everyone doing? I think you all are doing great. This is Shahnaj Pervin from Bogura Cantonment Public School and College. Today I have a lesson for class 7 and that is a grammar lesson for you. And today's topic is voice, and that is active voice and passive voice. Students, you will see three things here. What actually the active and passive voice, the basic structure of them, and when to use each of them. I repeat, what actually the active and passive voice, basic structure of them, and when to use each of them. You will see three things here. Please listen very attentively as it is very important topic of grammar. So let's get started. Students, what actually is an active voice? In active voice, subject performs the action and object receives the action. For example, I take a sentence for you here. I love my students. Okay, I love my students. Here, I is a subject. And who is receiving the action? It's you, my students, isn't it? So, here we see subject, action verb, and object. So, in active voice, the structure is subject plus verb plus object. Remember the structure properly. Now, let's look into the passive voice. Passive voice is used to show interest in the person or object that experiences an action rather than the person which performing it. I know you think, what does that mean? Let's see. We have the same sentence that we looked previously. I love my students. Here, the subject I is doing the action. The subject I is doing the action. Sentence structure is subject plus verb plus object. In the passive sentence, the object takes the place of subject and subject takes the place of object with the by being added to it. So it's like this: object plus verb 3 plus by and then subject. Here, verb's third form is used. That means past participle. Now, if I convert the sentence that we just discussed, it would be, my students are loved by me. Here, my students is the object. Love is the verb's third form and by me is the subject. Here, my students are receiving the action of love by me. Now, I think you are clear about the difference and the general structure between the two. I love my students and my students are loved by me. Please note that both the sentences I love my students and my students are loved by me. Both the sentences are exactly same in the meaning. Okay, same in the meaning. Now you might be thinking, if both the sentences are identical in meaning, then which one to use? We generally use the active voice only. Then your next question would be, then when do we use passive voice? And what's the need of it? Yes, of course. There is of course a need, or there is of course a cause. Now look at here. There are two main causes. Why do we need passive voice? Okay, first of all, when you don't know the subject at all. Here we take an example for you. My book has been stolen. My book has been stolen. Here, my book is an object and it was stolen. But we don't know by whom. We don't know by whom the book was stolen. We don't know the subject clearly. Okay, so here we need the passive voice. Secondly, when you want to focus on the action rather than who did it. Focus on the action rather than who did it. Here is another example for you. The road is being repaired. Here also, we are not interested in who is repairing the road. Who is repairing the road? We are interested in repair activity. Now, let's see how we can convert any active voice to passive voice. There are 5 simple steps in converting an active voice to passive voice. See them one by one. At first, when we get a sentence, we will identify subject, object, and verb in any sentence. At first, we will identify subject, object, and verb in any sentence. Secondly, swap the subject with the object. Swap the subject with the object and object with the subject. And object with the subject. Next, we will convert the main verb. Next, we will convert the main verb into the third form of verb, that is past participle. And then we will add a proper helping verb of to be before main verb. Proper helping verb of to be before main verb. And finally, we will add preposition by before the subject. We will add preposition by before subject. Is it clear, everybody? So at the end, the sentence structure of passive voice is object, helping verb, then verb 3 form, then by, and then subject. These are the simple 5 steps which we need to follow. So students, let's take a look what we have learned. Firstly, we discussed what is active voice. Here, the subject performs the action and object receives the action. And the general sentence structure of it is here subject plus verb plus object. Then we discussed about passive voice. Here, more importance is given to the object and the action that is being performed rather than who has performed the action. And the general structure of the sentence is object plus verb 3 plus by and then subject. So these are just a general structure of active voice and passive voice, and modification of the structure are based on tenses. Now students, there are two important things that needs to be remembered here. Firstly, when replacing the subject with the object and the subject is pronoun, then conversion will be like this. I will become me, he will become him, she will become her, you will be unchangeable, we will become us, they will become them, it will be unchangeable, and who will become whom. And secondly, we need to add proper helping verb of to be before the main verb. And this helping verb is decided based on tenses. Look here, there is a chart for you. Students, listen very carefully. If we get any sentence in present indefinite tense, then we will use of to be verb am, is, are, am or is or are, and it depends up to the subjects, person and number. And as per rule, for the past indefinite tense we will use was or were. Future indefinite tense we will use shall be or will be. For the present continuous tense, we just add here being with am, is and are. For the past continuous tense, we add being, was being, were being, and future continuous shall be being, will be being. I know you all actually know the tenses. For the present perfect tense, have been, has been, past perfect tense had been, and future perfect tense shall have been, will have been. So you need to remember the chart. It should be. Now students, look at the chart. Here I take a sentence of present indefinite tense and the verb is here write. I use this verb for every tenses. Could you remember the 5 steps that we learned before? If you can, then just check it out. First of all, we identify the subject, verb and object. Then we swap the subject with the object and the object with the subject. Here we use past participle form of the verb, that means verb 3, and a suitable auxiliary verb according to the subjects, that means which is in the active voice is an object according to the subjects, number and person. It is a singular form, so we use here is. And finally we use here preposition by to complete the meaning of the sentence. Is it clear, everybody? Here you can see for the past indefinite tense, again we sort out subject, verb and object. Then we swap the subject with the object and object with the subject. We use the verb 3 form, a suitable object. As it is past indefinite, we use here past form of the verb, and we use the preposition by before the object to complete the meaning. Here you can see future indefinite tense. Here we do the same thing. I will write a letter. Here I is the subject, will write is the verb, and a letter is the object. We do that is actually a letter will be written by me. Again, for the present continuous, here is the sentence, I am writing a letter. Actually, we do here for the continuous tense, and for the ing, we take here being, and the letter is being written by me. As we learned from the chart, we actually do that thing. So keep on your mind always the chart. For the past continuous, here is the sentence, I was writing a letter, and the passive form is a letter was being written by me. For the future continuous, I will be writing a letter. The passive voice is a letter will be being written by me. And finally, perfect tense. Present perfect tense. I have written a letter. The passive form is a letter has been, because this is singular. A letter is singular, so we take here has been written by me. Here, past perfect tense, I had written a letter. A letter had been written by me. And future perfect, I will have written a letter. A letter will have been written by me. So students, this is all for today, and it's time to homework. Here is a homework for you. Try to do it at your home. Okay. Thank you everybody for staying with me, and take a good care of you and your family. Goodbye everybody.